With serpents gone, the red moon in the sky disappeared. Corpses that turned into life slaves lost their strength and started to collapse. Kristen announced the location of Saludo and the Zodiac development device to all rune hunters of the Trom via the rune hunter guildmaster, Camilla. Since then, Saludo had an influx of adventurous rune hunters surging in to take on the challenge. Yet, the whispers of serpents still linger within you. Although you still do not fully understand what it could mean, you sense that your journey has not reached its end just yet.
It's been a while. I don't know if you remember me, but I've been following you ever since Advena, although it seems you had no idea. I came to a realization when you showed up again at the Pilgrim's Cave, that there's something I must give you before it's too late. I know you don't trust me because I'm with the Redanimo, but can you please listen to me just this once? We should continue this conversation in private. I'll be waiting for you, so follow me if you trust me. This is a private laboratory that was assigned to me by the Redanimo. Relax. The place is safe for now. Most of the other pagans became life slaves for the One's resurrection. I never believed any of that talk about eternal life, but to think it was actually possible. But now that the red moon has set, I'm sure they have all entered an eternity of slumber, including Ildrit, Anon, and everyone else who brushed past me. Until now, I've been helping the Repenters escape from the watchful eyes of the Redanimo by making up excuses about carrying out their plague experiments. And I've been using a relic to awaken those who have forgotten about the divinity. Here, I'll give you this relic. Why don't you take a look at it? If you have any questions about relics, I suggest you try talking with some of the other Repenters residing here.
So, you must be the rune hunter that Leitre mentioned. That relic you're holding is something that I brought over from Traum. It was for those who wouldn't believe in the 12 gods without definite proof of their existence. That relic was created in Traum through the consecration of the clergies. It was designed to condense the power of the 12 gods and materialize divinity itself. It is said that only those who swear their lives to one of the 12 gods and practice asceticism are given the right to perform the consecration. That is why you need 12 priests to create a single relic. In other words, one relic is able to materialize the power of all 12 gods. Why don't you try summoning the avatar of the 12 gods with that relic? Then you'll realize, too, that the 12 gods do exist.
Leitre claims that the Red Moon has gone down already, but it feels strange. It's as if the revived pagans could return at any moment. You may know this already, but the concept of life began with the 12 gods, which means that the one the pagans await cannot create life. So it's actually a paradoxical claim when the people of Traum refer to those who have been blessed by the One as life slaves. Even the lives that currently exist in Bellatus were originally created by the 12 gods. It's just that they desired the eternal life that the One promised, just as I did in the past. As proof of their origin from the 12 gods, every living organism in this world carries the light of life, which is essentially divinity itself. The divinity from the light of life can be condensed by offering it to a relic, and that condensed divinity will grant great power in the name of the 12 gods. As divinity continues to gather within a relic, you will realize, from observing the changes that occur upon the divine avatars, that life is divinity itself.
If you're a rune hunter, then you must know about the Primal War. After all, the runes you're looking for were prepared by the 12 gods for that battle. This is just a theory, but I believe their avatars that can be materialized with relics are also one of the preparations that the 12 gods made for the Primal War. You see, each of the avatars were created based on the 12 gods' powers. It is known that the avatars use their unique energy to communicate with the 12 gods. But it's up to you to wield their powers during times of need, because not even their avatars are able to use their energy indefinitely.
Do you think the 12 gods foresaw everything already that the world will eventually have to face? Leitre said he decided to hand you the relic after witnessing you fight back the One. And now, the door will soon open up. You must continue forth with your avatar. This is the volition of the gods that has been prepared for you. Hopefully, this volition will become a turning point for you, one way or another. Well, it was a pleasure to have met you, Rune Hunter.
You'll find Saluto beyond this point. Once you leave this place, we will most likely never meet again. I ended up losing everyone dear to me because I made the wrong choice. But you are different. You fought against evil until the very end. Even if you are driven to the cliff's edge, never forget that you are a child of the 12 gods, one who deserves to wield a relic.
I had heard that the rune hunters from all over Trom were flocking to this place, and it turned out to be true. What a tremendous crowd. As they say, where there are people, there's money to be made. My friend should have arrived with the stuff by now, but I don't know where they are. If you see merchants appear, can you let him know?
I was worried because it was my first time in Bellatus, but it's much nicer than I imagined. Well, the more people gather, the more organized the surroundings become. Enan? That reminds me, we were supposed to meet up. I was completely distracted watching the people. I must go quickly. Thanks for letting me know.
So this is the rumored Chaos statue. It's a lot more impressive than I had imagined. I've been told that this statue started a war in the past. I need to learn about the circumstances behind why it happened. Anyway, I decided to take the news about this Chaos statue to Trom. But is there anyone that can tell me about the sightings? Rune Hunter, as you're aware, articles with comments from trusted people increase its credibility.
A story about the Chaos statue? Sure, that's not a problem, but does that mean what I say is going to be published in a magazine? Ugh, I suddenly feel a lot of pressure. What should I say? So that... Don't stare at me like that! On paper. I'll write it on paper and give it to you.
I'm here on the order of Captain Kristen to tidy up the area. So, I have a question for you. I heard that the Chaos Dungeons are divided up within each nation. Aphras, Ordemus, and whatnot. In addition, Tria seems to be divided into Tri and Laia, the names that were used before the unification. But the Zodiac space is separate from Trom. Is there any reason why they're named like this? Despite how I look, once I'm interested, I need to find out all there is to know. Can you help me?
If you want to know that, you have to understand that the Chaos Dungeons were built around the Zodiac. As you know from the experience with the Zodiac, it is centered around the 12 primal beings. Based on what I've investigated so far, each of the Chaos Dungeons is affected by one of the 12 gods. By the way, each nation of Trom also believes in each of the 12 gods, right? As a result, each Chaos Dungeon naturally belongs to the 11 nations of Trom.
Oh, that's why. Finally, the question is answered. If so, the war currently taking place with Rune Hunters can be regarded as sort of a conflict between nations. Though the Zodiac space doesn't really exist, it's always better to have more resources. Anyway, this is great. I can focus on my work now. It bothered me so much that I couldn't concentrate.
Kristen, who joined the Rune Hunters in Advina, seemed to have cleared up a misunderstanding after hearing their story about you. He said he was moving to prevent the resurrection of serpents and asked you to join in as well. You defeated the revived King Ulden under the guidance of the Aphros Knights. The King Ulden had the Tears of God that had lost its light, and you were at a loss as to how to accept a sight you saw for the first time. You went to the Advina Cliffs with Salvis and found that Queen Ramalda, who had become a life slave, also had the Tears of God. Salvis saw this phenomenon and said that the militia captain who had the Tears of God must have used Ulden and Ramalda to convert the power of the 12 beings within the Tears of God into the power of serpents and then absorbed it. Salvis said that the reason the militia captain absorbed the Tears of God through Ulden and Ramalda was because he was a soul of serpents who could not accept the power of the 12 beings. He told you about what he experienced during the Bellatus expedition 10 years ago. The 2 souls of serpents that awakened when Salvis completed the Zodiac were preparing for resurrection in Advina now, despite all the hard work.
Before I completed the Zodiacs, I believed I had already reached the end. But what was beyond that light was the beginning of another. As I completed the Zodiacs, the souls of serpents awakened once again. One part of Serpent's soul that was split into 2 remained dormant within my rune cast. That soul introduced itself as Dex, and it endlessly tried to whisper into my ears. I have spent my life trying to contain Dex. But then one day, during the Bellatus expedition, I discovered that another soul of Serpent's had revived. What I found in the battlefield was Serpent's other soul, Aki, held within Prince Favina. Prince Lovia was doing his best to subdue Aki, but he was nearing his limit. I could only think of one way to stop Aki. Using the fact that the power of serpents cannot coexist with another gods, I began spreading the plague with the sacred arms of Vesper I found in Bellatus. As the plague spread, the life slaves lost their powers, and Aki was forced out of Prince Favina's flesh. Then Prince Lovia asked me to seal up Aki in his body instead. Afterwards, I entrusted Kristen to take care of Prince Lovia, and did everything I could to save Prince Favina's life. But then I realized, after taking care of everything, Dex, the voice which had continuously whispered into my ears, had disappeared. I suspect that he got away from me when I used the sacred arms of Vesper to get rid of Aki.
When you heard the news that Weeper was found in the expansion base, you rushed to find the child, and you came face to face with the shocking truth. Weeper was actually a key, one of the souls of Serpens, and he had been planning to deceive you since the beginning, when you met him as Prince Lavia in Calicorda. You spit cold venom towards yourself and felt deep sorrow looking at a key who had turned into a monster. After a key, Dex was found in the baptism room. You became angry as you faced Dex, who had been deceiving you all along. But Dex showed a peculiar smile at your reaction, and claimed that it was unfair for the 12 beings of Trom to persecute him. You felt strange hearing Dex's enigmatic words. Aki and Dex, whom everyone thought had disappeared, became one in the constellation of authority, albeit in an incomplete form. In the process, Pan and Salvis were wounded while trying to save you, and you thought you should fight with all you've got for them. Serpens lost focus from your attack and was scattered back into the world, but you could feel Serpens was not completely gone. Kristen told you about Saludo's Zodiac development device, which allows one to enter the Zodiac space and gain experience. He seemed to want you and many other rune hunters to gain experience and improve skills in preparation for the return of Serpens. Meanwhile, Salvis mentioned he would like to take the unconscious Pan to Ortimus once he was done with his work. You thought you had better return as soon as possible.